Hey, in this lesson I'm going to quickly show you how to make a roof on your house. So you can see like here, if you want a really simple roof line, we'll show you how to do that. And then afterwards I'll get a little bit more detailed into what happens if we've got a roof that has multiple angles, multiple sides to it, and maybe even a dormer or something. But let's just show you a simple one first. So if I just delete these real quickly, so we've got our basic house, which I've shown you previously. This is just a basic structure here. Now the idea, first of all, is that a roof should be made out of a box. I find the top-down view is the easiest way to work, and a couple of reminders for you just before we do this. Number one, make sure your angle snap toggle is activated so that when you rotate, it'll rotate in 5-degree increments. Number two, it's really important, is that in your perspective view, that edged faces are turned on. So right here, when you click on default shading, you turn on edge faces. That's going to be critically important. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and build a box on top of, here's my logs, part of my log house. I'm going to make a box, and I'm going to put it on top of the house, just like this. Now you can see in the perspective view, right away, it's decently thin. I could thin it down if I wanted to. You guys already know how to do that, but we could scale it down, etc. And then maybe from one of the side views, I could move it so it's on top of the logs in this case. Okay, so there we go. Now the important thing to understand is the big premise is now we actually want to have a peak in this roof. So we kind of want, and you can choose which direction. In this case, what I want is a peak to go up this way and then down here. And notice I've got some overhangs. Now the important thing is that we have to change the number of segments so we can see a line here that we can grab and pull up. Now to find where those segments are, it's under the second tab here called Modify. And right now it's length, height, and width in my case of 1, 1, and 1. Yours might be different. But the idea is that one of these length or width segments has to be a 2. Let me just try this one. So that's actually, in this case, you can see I've got a white line going this direction. Since I want to actually pull up this way, that's the wrong direction. So I'm going to change length back to 1 segment and actually make the width segments back to 2. So there we go. So you can see I've got 2 segments, and if your edge faces were turned off, you wouldn't see this. So I've got 2 segments in this middle line here. Now the next step, once we've got that middle line that we can actually grab and pull up, is to add a modifier. So you go into the modifier list, add a modifier called Edit Poly, which is an incredibly popular one. So we go to Edit Poly, and now we can actually edit the polygon. So if I click on, I want to select the vertices. So I'm going to select vertices. And I want to grab or select all of the vertices in the middle. So you want to, when you've got vertices select activated, you want to make sure you drag a box that contains all of those vertices in the middle of your roof. Okay? And then all you need to do is pull the Z-axis upwards. That's as easy as it is. Okay? And finally, you need to deactivate the vertices select. So you just click on it so it's not blue anymore, and you may have to move your roof down so it's actually on the peak of the house. And there we go. That's the general idea of a roof. If you get that idea, you can stop this video now, but I'm going to get into some more difficult, some more interesting things if you've got more varied roof lines. So let's go ahead and look at this house, just a couple of extra things. So I'm going to go to the top-down view. I'm going to find that house. Here it is. And I'm going to make my first roof. So I'm going to make a box. Again, this is going to be the same technique. Just want to show you how you can use duplicating to make it happen. So here we go. There we go. Okay, I'm going to pull it up on top of the house. So it's on top of the house now. And you can see in my perspective view that I actually have a segment going the wrong direction. So right here. So it still has 2 segments based on the last guy, but I'm going to go to Modify and actually change it to 2 length segments and only 1 width segment. Okay, same thing. I'm going to add an Edit Poly. So under the modifier list here, go to Add Edit Poly, go to Vertex Select, drag a box over those middle vertices and pull it up. Okay, and I might have to just put this guy down a little bit so it's actually on the walls. So there we go. You can see it sitting on the walls. Okay, now the easiest way to make the second roof is, you guessed it, by duplicating. So if I go to my top-down view, now the reason that duplicating is nice for this one is that the peaks then will be aligned. So if I go to my top-down view, I hold down Shift and duplicate. I then can rotate this guy by 90 degrees. There we go. And then move him in place, and I'll probably have to do some scaling. So right there, I'm going to want to scale it in the Y-axis. Okay, and I'm also going to want to, you can see the peaks here don't align. So if I take those peaks and align them, I now have a roof line. You can see this in the perspective view where these two match up. Okay, and the same thing can be done for dormers, so you can see those match up. Now the other issue that you might have, and I can show you how to fix this, is that this roof line is inside the other. So we might want to, with an Edit Poly, move those, which is a little bit tricky. I'll show you how to do it. Some of you will understand it, and others might need some guidance along the way. But the idea here is if I go to my vertex select, and I grab these two vertices, you have to find the right angle, the right direction, all that sort of stuff, and pull them in to match the other roof line right there. You can see in this case, now that part of the roof is gone, right? So I pulled those vertices inwards, and now I have a gap that I can fill, which I'll show you in a future video.